That I had really great memories with Trial Evolutions, and so yeah, Trials was definitely the kind of games that I wanted to see again in a UD, and that happened. So it's really great. An important point to note here is that in Trials 2 in this category, you will have the possibility to restart from a checkpoint. You didn't have this opportunity at the third season where you had to finish the track without dying at all. Here you can respawn if you fail, so maybe a less punitivity in this category. We'll see. The race just started right now with the first level, and we already see a death from the mask, so quite
Yeah,
fast.
it comes fast. Brother Main failed too. It's once again, it's way harder than you'd expect from a trial game. If you just play Trial Fusion or Trials Evolution, Judgina just started a couple of 20 seconds late. It's okay. Brother Main dying at the first on the first
Oh yeah.
race here. Cedric starting the second track. And this is going to come fast, and that's why we allowed the use of the checkpoints, because it's going to be more tense around set difficulties rather than trying to go fast without dying.
Yeah, this is actually quite like difficult to to see how hard is this game, because actually this is the physics of the game that is really weird when you have the hands on the controller, but just seeing it doesn't look like so hard, and that's why you will see some death that looks quite bizarre, because yeah, you don't understand what happened, but trust me, the players does know what is happening.
We can see the mask using almost all the checkpoints. As soon as he passes one, he restarts. I was pretty sure that was going to happen, because the category allows for you to just try all your best passing an obstacle, just plank or anything that bars your way, and just you barely touch the checkpoint with your motorbike flipping, and you just hear it restart the checkpoint, and you keep going. The dynamics of the races are going to be very interesting, because obviously the one who clears all the tracks without dying is going to get the best time. But sometimes you'd rather go full ham and get barely the end of the track, like Selrek tried to do and failed right before the checkpoint. So it's a higher risk, high reward game, I feel.
Yeah, and in race, as you said, this will be really intense, because we definitely saw that in Trials Evolution. When you do a race, you never fail at the same moment, and you will have like people that will gain a lot of advance because they're not dying, and then they will have an obstacle that they're struggling to pass, and they will lose time and time, and they will have lots of comeback, lots of turnarounds, and this will be great to see. But here we have obviously 4 players that are playing the game blind. This is actually quite great performance to accept running here blind on a game that, well, on the first try is really difficult.
Yeah, getting used to the physics certainly is something. And as we can see already on all the players' screen, the difficulty, difficulty is getting harder and harder very fast. We get to see here some patterns that are exclusive to the harder difficulties in Trials Evolution, and some you need to have like perfect control on your bike. Cedric is a little bit ahead, Brother Main and Giorgino almost at the same part of the track, and
Oh my
yeah,
god, it's flipping so fast. Looks like you can control merely anything. And yeah, we have a good remark in the chat. This was actually a in the flash game at first. You can see the miniclip logo, miniclip that was a web site that hosts some flash games, and that's probably why the quality of the game is sometime discussed, to say the least.
Well, it has been discussed, but it has been also completely approved by seeing all the support the game franchise received throughout the years.
Yeah, indeed.
Trials game has been announced like at the E3 3 or 4 years ago, the last iteration of it. Like, it is, it is. It is well known. It is famous by now, but yeah, the story of the game. It's like if Co-op got like a super HD version, and everybody got to play it, and then we got like Co-op Evolution and Co-op Fusion. It is the same kind of physics, weird physics game, and that's probably why we love it in the UD too. Because after quite a lot of standard platformers, having just that weird physics-based game, almost like Spectrable but different in some aspects, physics-wise, not gameplay-wise, of course. Having that weird game in the UD is going to be very nice for some players after learning DKC and Shovel Knight and Eye of Sorrow, which are long platformers.
Yeah, and the minimalist controls of the game, like you just have 3 or 4 binds, is really an important point in the attractivity of this game. Lots of players like simple game, but really hard to master. Like I just think here to Trackmania, which is really simple but really hard to master. Here's quite the same thing. You just like you steer front, steer backwards, and try to not to die. It's really simple to understand, really easy to visualize as a spectator as well.
So for the controls, if you've never played Trials, what's happening is you have by default the 2 arrows left and right control your character on the bike, its positioning, which changes its the balance of the entire bike, which allows for flip and to do crazy thing. Then you have your acceleration on the which controls the rear wheel. So you are going to flip backward if you just press left and accelerate at the same time. And then you have your braking button, which controls the front wheel. And once again, you are going to flip forward if you press brake plus right. And all those 4 controls, which can be analog if you are using a controller, are makes it for super weird and tense game where you are constantly trying to understand how you are supposed to pass some obstacles. And at the start, it's a puzzle game, really.
Yeah, and it's also interesting the fact that if you fail at a moment, and sometimes a fail really comes fast just because you pressed right 1 second too much, you have to analyze the fact that you failed and find a way to stabilize again and get out from this situation. This is really interesting. This is a point where the talent of the players will play a lot. You will have to get out some situations just after a fail.
Yeah, and sometimes you cannot do it, and you have to analyze that and go back to checkpoint as soon as possible. And sometimes you have to take those extra 5 seconds it may take you to get back your balance and get you back on your wheels. Brother Main is on a level that comes really hard to me. Like, I don't know how I'm going to pass that, because you need it just showed how much momentum you need on some parts. And yeah, sometimes if you don't get enough momentum, you are not going to pass and just loop back on yourself on the same looping going on back and forth. And that's going to be very tough to learn, I feel. I'm scared,
like
actually.
for this precise obstacle, it looks like the checkpoint is actually positioned in a way that if you just hold accelerate, seems like you're passing the obstacle. This is maybe sometimes it will be more efficient to restart at the checkpoint immediately, because the way the checkpoints are organized, sometimes it's easier.
Yeah, the game is not a trap game at all. It just puts checkpoints at positions where you know you are going to be able to pass. I I think there may be some instances where it's the case, but usually you will never get blocked by the game. You will get screwed by the game from time to time because physics game means sometimes you are going to have some weird interaction. Your head is going to bonk in some weird places, and you're not going to die. Or sometimes you are just going to die hitting slightly a plank you didn't expect to hit. So it is going to be interesting and infuriating for some players, or awesome for some others.
Yeah, definitely.
The runners are making a good progress. Brother Ming is at the end of the easy track, so we are going to see on his screen a step in difficulty starting on the next track. Giorgino and Selrect started already the harder, the medium difficulty, and we can see it on screen, like it doesn't lie.
Yeah, one of the biggest problem to me in this game is that the environment are not so distinguishable. I mean, like, you don't have the sort of graphics you had in Trials Evolution or Trials Fusion, where the tracks were really had a sort of graphic print, like fingerprint. You don't have that here, so it's quite difficult to see which runner is ahead or not. In this case, I think runner will have in like the real competition will have to use the splits to display on the screen the level they're at. You think this is what will happen? I think if you can confirm that.
Yeah, I don't know yet, but I can agree. Usually in the UD, we try to ask the runners to use the tracker for some harder game to follow. So we had that on Spelunky, we had that on Mario Kart for various reasons. And yeah, Trials is probably going to be one of those. We are going to have to set up some splits. It's maybe just going to happen in July, because if you're new to the UD, the entire idea behind Ultime Decathlon is to get good at 10 speedruns during a long length of time. So it started on April. We are at the 7th week, so we announced the 7th game. We are going to have 3 more weeks to announce the full 10 games, and then for during July, August, September, and October, we are going to have competitive tournaments, and those are going to be the meat of the UD6. But it allows for a lot of time for both the players to get good at and us to organize the best looking stream. So we are going to see that through. Giorgino starts a tough level here. When you start with non-flat planks, it's always harder because each tiny gap between those rocks is a gap you have to jump above, and jumping is the hardest thing in that game.
Yeah, we saw Selrek, and probably we'll see other runners go on it, but he was like on an obstacle where it was you had to climb a really tough platform that was like the angle was really tough, and this is one of the skills you have to deal with in Trials, which is really stabilize yourself on a platform to climb some really like small angled platform. We will see that probably in a few minutes on other players.
Yeah, as Gary says on chat, this video game is frustrating and hilarious. It does work well for the viewer experience because you can see the players in tough spots and about to fall, and sometimes they successfully stabilize, and it's amazing. And sometimes, as predicted, they fall to their death. It is a good game to watch. Obviously, if you want to learn it along the UD runners, you can join the UD6. It is open. Oh, and that meme trap at the on Giorgino's screen, where you just take a slope and you take it too fast and you bonk on the ceiling. Classic. So yeah, if you want to join the UD6 Lone Trial with us and play some in races featured on Speed Gaming and Ultime Decathlon on Twitch, you are more than welcome to do so. You have the ! UD command in chat for everything you need to know.
Yeah, you can see on browser main screen the precise obstacle I was talking about, those really tough climbing, and you really have to stabilize your bike in a way that you will not go like you're not flipping away while climbing this, and this is really difficult, especially in this opus of the game where the physics is way more I don't know how
It's
to
less
say
forgiving.
unbalanced than the
Yeah.
recent one.
Yeah, it's stiffer. It's everything. You flip way faster. It's like you are mounted on springs, and nothing works the way you want it to. You fall faster than you'd expect, and you flip faster than you'd expect. And on that steep platform, that steep plank he was climbing on, what happens if he accelerates too fast, he's going to flip backward, and if he goes too slow, he's going to not pass the jump he has to do after. And it's always that kind of balance that is expected from the players. You have to know to go exactly as fast as you need to, which makes for a very high ceiling skill a game. Like if you spend, I don't know, thousands of hours, you are going to go through those levels like it's Mario 101. Like it's not hard if you've played enough, because you can control everything and you compensate with all your mistakes all the time, because you cannot be perfect. It's not like a frame perfect input based game or just jump at the correct time. It's always, am I going too fast, or am I going too slow, and trying to tap your balance to go a bit further or not too far, and it's what makes the game interesting, in my opinion.
Yes, indeed, and like the main problem I think that the player will encounter is the fact that you don't have huge skips, and you just have a succession of obstacles that you have to deal with, and there's no way to going safe, no way to like just run simply the game. Every obstacle needs to be passed, and this is why in this game the way you will learn it, I think, is not to go fast, but just having a percentage of success which is higher than the other, because you will die. Even in 5 months, when we will have the last competitive tournament, the grand final, the ultimate final, players will die, and this is what interesting the game will be.
Yeah. So on speedrun.com, Trials 2 is sadly empty for NG Plus all tracks. It has some level leaderboard for NG Plus Easy and NG Plus Medium on it. So I will do encourage the players to submit their time, so the leaderboard on speedrun.com gets more attention. You can also do it in chat if you are interested. The game does exist, but has no players. But Red Links has put on a website for Trials 2 that is very interesting. It looks like a crazy, I don't know, 1999 website, but it does have all the time for all the tracks. So if you do like the game and you want to get into it, you have a ton of resources. It's not like DKC where you have all the different strats laid out for you. You have to make your own strat and try to understand how the world record does it better than you. But it is a good game to get into if you like what you see. I feel. During the UD6, it is going to be quite a different story, because once again, you have to get good at 10 games at the same time, and Trials 2 is going to be one of those that you can forget the faster. I feel like if you just mix your muscle memory with an older Trial game, if you just played Spectrable before and then you have to play Trials, it's going to be tough. It's not going to be so easy to get back in at it. So my advice for the player would be to keep on playing Trials 2 from time to time, just a track or two, just not to forget how the physics works.
Yeah, indeed. This is a kind of game that some players will like to learn um, as the 10th game, like just really late, because they know that if they learn it right now, they will have to spend a lot of time in rememorize again how to play the game. Um, and you know, in this, when you want to be competitive in this kind of event where you have to learn 10 games, you really have to make a sort of strategy of learning to be as efficient as possible.
Yeah, that's why we are seeing some differences between the players. Some players are sticking to the one game a week very, very firmly, and some
Yeah.
other players are just losing time on some of the newer games and just learning on their own pace, at their own pace, just so they don't forget what happened previously during the UD, because some of the players that didn't play Shovel Knight for the past 4 weeks are going to have a tough time on July. July the 14th is the first competitive tournament. We are going to set up a team tourney between the 10th game tourney and the start of the competitive tournament on July the 14th. So we are going to have to give the opportunity for the players to play the games again, but yeah, I don't know. I'm very, very excited for July, to be honest. I want to see what the players are going to do. And the part where the mask is right now is crazy tough, I feel. This is not something you'd see on medium difficulty on Trials Evolution.
Oh wow, that was close, but yeah, he triggered the checkpoint, fortunately. Yeah, it really looks like restarting at the checkpoint, or at least knowing what transitions are hard or easy. This can makes you like make some decisions on either like do you have to restart at the checkpoint or not. If you know the transition, the next transition will be hard because of the pace, because of the speed, or the angle you have. If you have this knowledge, you can take the right decision to either restart at the checkpoint or not. And this will be an interesting point to dig for the player.
Yeah, so Giorgino completed the category, completed all the easy and medium tracks. Cedric is at the end of the category. It is the final exam, the final track from the medium difficulty. And to be honest, the game has been designed so that this is the start of the game. This is the end of the tutorial. And once you've completed the medium difficulty, okay, now you can get into hard difficulty, and you have some weird gimmick-based tracks with the flip, the wheelie, the dynamics difficulty, and then you have some downloadable tracks about 20 or 21 where those are where it gets hard, and it is an infinite game if you want to play it for. You can play it for a long time. You can grind the world records. You can get into some of the other trials they are on for PC. You get the Trials Evolution, which contains the Trial HD for PC, and also then you have Trials Fusion. And on the later version of Trials, the players could make their custom tracks, and custom tracks mean impossible tracks, obviously. So it got crazy. I do encourage you, if you like what you see, to go on YouTube and see look for the ninja difficulty tracks, where the players have to land either specifically on their front wheel or back wheel on some platform, or they die. It is a crazy game, and you can do crazy stuff with it. Congrats to Sarek that beat the category in 22 minutes and 50 seconds. That's actually a good time for just like 2 days of practice.
Yeah, as you said, 2 days of practice. So it didn't like it was not 100% blind. If maybe he trained the game before, because well, 22 minutes is really solid time, and yeah, we will see great times in the UD. I'm pretty sure, especially in the grind classmen. a grind leaderboard, because people will have the time to restart the run and trying to be fastest as possible without caring a lot about dying or not, because when you grind for a PB, usually when you die you just restart, and this is, I think, what will happen for the best players. So we'll have crazy times in the grind leaderboard, but the race leaderboard will be so different, because obviously you just have a one shot on the run, but also you have the pressure, the stress of the competition. The like You want to do good, and sometimes for some players, it makes them they do a lot of mistakes in these circumstances.
Yeah. In the English restream, we call that the double-edged sword. When you manage to fill your player card with the same PB in races and grind, because it aligns perfectly the tip of the two angled bars, and it is a lot of the players are going to aim for that on the later tournaments, either when they're qualified for everything and or when they just want to fill their player card as well as possible, as good looking as possible. And it is going to be maybe the harder track to do that. I don't understand the end of the track where the mask is, where there are two end flags, and the first end flag is just a checkpoint, like barely a meter away from the end of the track. Though that game has some inconsistencies, and it is what it makes it funny also.
Alright, it's really quite difficult to see indeed where the players are right now. I think the mask is quite behind, because this is a level we saw quite a long time ago, if I remember correctly. So he's definitely blind. The mask didn't train, I think.
Yeah, he is. Brotherman is blind also. He is currently learning Cuphead, which is like week 4 or 5, week 5 of the UD. So he has some catching back to do if he wants to get to be okay for the first for the July tournament. But yeah, sometimes once again the UD is a long process, and going it your way is definitely the good idea. Borderman is at the end of the easy tracks. No, he passed that a long time ago. Those angled planks look like the end of the easy track, but it's not.
It looks like he's on the last, actually.
Yeah, okay, that's you're correct. This is the last of the medium tracks. Thanks. We both are doing commentary for the Saturday races in French for you and in English for me, and we are going to have to play this game and also to remember exactly the order of the tracks and be able to recognize from this one look, okay, this is the last of the easy or the 7th of the medium or whatever, and that's going to be a tough.
Yeah, this will be definitely the harder thing. I think I will just display on my second screen the list of the tracks with a small picture of it, so I can rely on it. But yeah, to go back to the point of learning the 10 games, we saw some people sticking with the pace of 1 game a week, and that are actually burning out because it's really too difficult to do. And this is a bias, a sort of cognitive bias, where you think you have to learn 10 games in 10 weeks, and like at the end of the 10 weeks you have to master all the games. This is not really the way it goes, because it's impossible to do. So yeah, it's new in this UD6, and like for some people it's quite hard to adapt to this new system.
Yeah, Brotherman beat the game in 28 minutes, which is Very good. Yeah, very nice time
Yeah,
actually
for a
for
first
a
run.
first run. That shows probably that he was a player for the UA3 and knew a little bit about trials. Zamask is actually also doing a good job, but those traps in Trials 2 I hate the most. Those where you have to barely graze the ceiling with your helmet and you have to go backward. I think it is just so you sit well on your seat and you don't hit the ceiling. Those I think are the most annoying because it's easy to get
Oh, that was great.
under. Yeah, very nice. And then yeah, full backward so you barely
No!
make it.
Oh my
And
god.
on
The
right before
checkpoint is
the
just a
point,
meter away.
you
Come
has
on.
to take it slow,
Alright.
stabilize, and nice. That's
Checkpoint
where
very
the
good.
instance where panic is not allowed. You have to get some, you know, a big breathe and go. Okay, how do I get out of that situation? And it's going to be tough because in races, taking it slow is a big thing to ask. You want to go as fast as possible, and sometimes the runners are going to make mistakes just because of the setup they're in. So we'll see who's going to deal with that the best.
Yeah, we're seeing how hard it is on this sort of obstacle where you have to absolutely master your rear wheel, and this is where all the gameplay is about. Like this is your back wheel that actually decide your position, your angle, your speed, and it's it's just it. The back wheel is everything about this game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love seeing that game. I know CDV just is absolutely into it for various reasons as a player, as a viewer, and as a commentator. So that's going to be some of the more exciting games for the UT6. It's not going to be the game that decides it all because usually players tend to stabilize around about the same times. That's what we've seen on Trials Evolution. Because once you've mastered the physics, nobody is going to go full ham and go full risk on the game. Also, although you can use the checkpoints, so maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like, okay, it's a low risk game, so I will go full ham. I don't know. Actually, the rhythm of those races are going to be very different from what we've seen in during the UD3.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that because of the checkpoint, as you said, the physics, the the difficulty, and yeah, all of that. Maybe it will have the same. I don't know, the same thing. Like they will all have the same time at the end, or pretty close of each other. But anyway, this will be different in the way you learn it, in the way you race it. Um, this will be like really interesting.
Some players actually do like 30 minutes on their first or second attempt, so the game is actually going to have a nice curve, learning curve. 30 minutes is 80 points. The 100 points is at 25, 26 minutes. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
And the 200 points is 16 minutes. So it is a 6 seconds per point game. So it's like the medium difficulty and medium length. It's your average UD game, about 20 minutes in length, just not too long to learn, but quite hard to master. A lot of those games were like that. It's not as hard as a Spelunky, nor as long as a Shovel Knight. It's just your standard average weird game, like Kuru Kuru Kuruin was, and it's something that players have to keep in mind. Like it's not the standard game by any mean, but also you do have to get good at the same time Trials and Shovel Knight, and you have to find a good balance in your training. So, but yeah, at the end of the week, Trials is going to be mastered for some people at the UD level. They're not going to be like first on the leaderboard, the global leaderboard, but they're going to have like a standard good. I don't know if it's going to be 200, maybe 190, 180 is going to be the standard score you want to aim for, but it's going to happen very fast for some players.
Yeah, it's really hard to say if either or not the 200th point will be hidden. But yeah, I don't know. This like when you say 6 seconds for a single point, then you just have to look at what we've seen here from the 4 players to see that actually it's half a point, between half a point and a point per death. So this, I think all the leaderboard of this game will rely on the number of deaths we have. I maybe we'll have 2 or 3 deathless runs in grind leaderboard, but in race leaderboard, I really think like the whole board will be decided on the number of deaths player did during their run.
That's actually possible. I'm having fun here with the Trials 2 website because you can actually see the rank of the players globally, and I've seen like Giorgino is currently in average 40,000 on the leaderboard. So you know it's very cool. You can see all the players and see how well they're doing. Some players are, you know, after just 30 or 1 hour, 30 minutes or 1 hour, sometimes they're very good into the game. Sometimes they're still 82k average ranking. So it is pretty cool. You can see all the best times of all the players. You can see the difference to the world record. Like you have a ton of tools to see what you have to learn, what you have to practice, and I like seeing that. So maybe some players are going to use that a lot to see where they have to improve, and some people are going to be able to ignore that. But I know a lot of people in the UD love numbers and statistics, so we are probably going to see some interesting stuff. Probably during the grand finals with that, seeing if there's like a correlation between the global ranking of the player and how well they do in races, and probably I'd say that's a fair bet. Like no risk taken there. I'm trying to see if I can find Puppet Master, which is the best currently in our leaderboard, but I don't know if he what's his nickname in the game. So
Yeah, the mask here is really, he's really struggling with this obstacle. It looks really hard. You actually have to stop and stabilize yourself between each single little bump and obstacle, like just here. Going speed, trying to not flip too much, and yeah, the front wheel stuck in the platform.
Nice.
Oh, that was the idea.
Yeah, but sometimes you get flipped over and you just like passing the obstacle. It's not what matters, it's how you do it. You have to pass the obstacle and then land correctly. Very nicely done here. Good balance.
Yeah, just gaining speed and trying to pass some obstacle, to skip some of them.
I love those tracks where you have one checkpoint per jump, pretty much, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to pass that. It's good learning tracks. You go like, okay, I'm going to pass that obstacle, and then if I can repeat it constantly until I hit the checkpoint, it's those are good tracks, and those are quite repetitive also. So it just shows how well you mastered the difficulty or not. So
yeah, it's a good way to train, but also I think runners will just do it and they will have to restart to a checkpoint once that they will success. And because if you want to do it and do it and do it again, you want to do it even if you pass the the obstacle, so you don't want to trigger the checkpoint when you are in training.
Yeah, that's true. For those who like numbers, Puppets Master, our top runner in the UD, spent 18 hours into the game and is currently in ranking position 22 thousandths. So, you know, that's something to look for. He is very close to the world records on each tracks, which is pretty good. And yeah, he has times only on the UD category, so he got this game just for us. He learned the game and he practiced it beforehand, just so we have some reference time. And Puppets must have dying on that pit there, climbing those steep planks, and when you are on ground and
Oh my
there's
god!
no...
Oh,
he's
that
going to
was
make
insane!
it. Nice.
That was insane. This is a figure you can see in most ninja levels of Trials Evolution and Fusion. Like you try to grab the platform with your wheel protection. I don't know how to call that, but yeah, it's really great movement here.
I need to get good at my motorcycle part English. Let's see. It's just the mud guard.
Mud guard, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, if you land
The fender.
flip,
This is fender. Actually.
the fender. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you call this a fender grab. That now that I recall it.
Nice. So you are an expert on that because you did some commentary for the GDQ. I don't know if it was SGDQ 2016. I'd say.
It was the GDQ of the UD just before the UD4, I think.
So yeah, okay, either 2000 start of 2017, so HDQ, and yeah, you got famous in the French restaurant for a crazy commentator performance. I do remember that. And so what you do is you land flipped on your back wheel, and then with a good use of your acceleration and your balance, you can progress and even flip, so you're on both wheels and at the end. So it just shows some skill you can get either naturally, like the mask did. I'm not sure is. Oh, nice!
It was good. It was good. This was really ridiculously hard.
Yeah, once again, this game doesn't kid around. It is one tough version of the iteration of the Trial franchise. That jump looks impossible, to be honest.
The death animations are sometimes quite fun, with your character just flying away.
Yeah, like a limbless puppet. You're just like dismembered immediately. Oh, very nice! No!
Almost.
Back wheel did not make it. He has to restart. Once again, deciding to restart fast is probably a good skill to get early. Like not going for too long of tries. Damn, I thought he had it there. Yeah, you want to restart as soon as you know you are not going to make it.
Yeah, I think this is the way to go. Like hitting the platform, flipping backwards, and then that was nice. Oh my god, this is...
Oh my god.
This is absurd.
Do you know what part of the body of the motorcycle has to pass the checkpoint for that to count? Is that just the engine?
In Trials Evolution, it was the head. But I don't know for this one. But I think if it was the head, I think it should have passed the checkpoint. I guess.
Yeah.
So maybe the shoulders or the lower body.
Yeah, this is tense actually. Like this obstacle is not too easy to get.
No,
by.
Oh, with the bounce maybe. Oh.
No. That
Nice, so-
should be it. Okay, it's the engine of the motorcycle.
Yeah, either the engine or the foots maybe.
And
Right, so this is the way to go. You just try to go as back as possible, and then jump
very
out.
nice. Okay, yeah, it is. It is the engine, the or the fits like the lower part of the body or the middle part of the
Yeah,
motorcycles that does count. That's something people, players, and runners are going to have to know exactly
yeah.
so they don't restart too fast after passing the checkpoint because that's probably going to happen also.
No, was
Yeah,
almost
going
hit.
going too fast will not allow you to get a good jump for those logs.
Yeah, this is the difficulty here, trying to stabilize yourself between two jumps with the tough physics of the game. It's not something that is as easy as it looks. Right.
Would you personally recommend to do the harder tracks, the hard difficulty, maybe to get to understand better all the jumps you can do, or do you think it's a waste of time?
Uh, I I don't think if I can answer the question because I didn't see I never seen the artist track. But if the artist track are taking some obstacle or some gameplay mechanics from the easy and medium parts, this is definitely a good idea. But it's if it's too like gimmick based, I think it doesn't worth the the time to do it because you will just train on things that will not be as useful. I don't think if the sort of gimmick where you have to land on your back wheel or front wheel on some platforms will help you a lot on the usual tracks.
I
So
don't think on this one it's too gimmicky. Like you have some gimmicky wheelie and flip difficulty, but those are aside from the hard difficulty. I haven't played the harder tracks myself. Those like the expert tracks on Trials Evolution, I find impossible. So maybe it would be too hard on some players. But definitely, if you can do the harder difficulty, the hard tracks, you are going to have a easier time on easy and medium, but that's a huge time investment you may just
yeah,
want to put into learning better the easy and medium track. So yeah, I don't know, but I know that some players are going to have a good time just playing through the entire game before starting the speedrun, which is never a bad idea. But once again, UD is also about learning fast sometimes, so it's it's up to the players. Oh, the mask trying to pass the obstacle without going into the platform there, trying to find his way. Once again, we see the puzzle aspect of the game right now. And that jump is... Oh, can you burn? I don't know.
oh, it's going like. Oh, this is interesting to skip. It's not a skip, but it's
It's,
another
it's,
way to go.
is ignoring the middle platform.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's faster, but if it makes him more confident. Stabilizing on that little slope here.
Yeah, that was great.
And yeah, passing barely the checkpoint, very nice. I don't know if you have to have your motorbike pass the checkpoint or if you have to still be alive on it when it passes the checkpoint.
Yeah, it's a good question. From what I just seen, maybe I don't think he was dead, but it looks like he was dead when he passed the checkpoint. So looks like it works, but we can't be sure because you don't have the sort of fun animation when you die like you had in Trials Evolution, where you see the death, a huge death written just above you. You don't have that. Just hard to know where you die.
Using the checkpoint with advantage here. Getting above. Okay. This is maybe one of the last tracks. I don't remember all the layout once again. This is something we will learn very fast, I hope. Just gotta see a lot of players and runners run through those difficulties and I'll be good.
Maybe we can ask Soderek to to start the hardest tracks just to see what it looks like.
That would be nice. Oh, that jump. Yeah, you have to pull yourself backward very early so you have some backward momentum,
And
exactly
then
like
stabilize.
that. Yeah, but you have not to stabilize too early, but if you stabilize too late you will land on your head, so once again balance is key.
Yeah, it's definitely the core gameplay, the stabilization, the balance, and the second core gameplay mechanics is definitely the rear wheel that you have to master and like move your body so you can bounce efficiently with your rear wheel.
Someone in chat, Tetsuo, says that some were saying that with the checkpoint allow that would be too easy. Yeah, do trust us. Like we've made that choice with the difficulty of the game in mind. So this is the last track. The pointy planks figure here is going to be my visual cue for that one. This part you have to go slow enough so you don't bonk your head on the ceiling,
Yeah.
but you have to go fast enough so you can pass those steeper planks. Okay, this is sometimes if it doesn't start too well, you will just as soon as your wheels stop touching the ground, sometimes it's impossible to go back to it. Like you will either you cannot brake so well anymore
Great.
if you're
That was
very
great.
nice. Okay, yeah, nice and slow.
I died.
Oh no, he died. Bonking
He
his
died.
ceiling.
Alright, so there is actually a message displaying on the screen, on the top screen, that tells you if you're dead or not. The rider was knocked unconscious. It's written on top.
This game in VR. Yeah, you need first-person trials. This is going to be insane.
But yeah, it's just looking at this decision of allowing the checkpoints is definitely understandable. Like imagine if you had to do it without dying, and if you die you have to restart everything. Every track, not the whole game, of course, just the track, but yeah.
Entire game, no mistake. Okay, Giorgino is doing the harder tracks, and as you can see, it is crazy. Like, it's not kidding around.
That was really great, a great climbing here. The wheel will really stick to the platform. This is what you want to see.
Okay, passing the checkpoint barely. So you can go fast and land on the ceiling planks
What
there.
is that?
You have
Oh
to
well,
you have to follow
definitely.
the arrow there, but you can skip. I think maybe not.
Oh,
He is trying to skip, but you just should go forward and accelerate as much as possible. Here we go. You got
maybe
it.
with a fender grab on the first platform, you can do the job. It's really an advanced technique.
Okay,
And the
he has
level we're seeing
to.
on Giorgino is quite interesting.
Quite impossible. It's that little jump. Yeah, this is not going to happen.
Yeah, but you see on the Giorgino screen that the sort of break here on the platform. You see this quite a lot on the easy and medium tracks. This is something you encounter quite much. So I'd say maybe it's useful to do it so because. Yeah, as I first said, if you have mechanics and sort of obstacle that really you encountered them a lot in easy and medium, it was the time, I'd say.
Yeah, you need like perfect balance for Giorgino's difficulty. And while we were
Wow.
watching on that, the
Wow.
mask beat the category in about an hour. He was probably completely blind, so that was a good performance. Just getting into the game, understanding what's going on, how to pass. He's ranked 28,000 for that track with 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and the world record is at 47 seconds. So
This is absurd.
okay.
Probably Deathless, I'd say.
Yeah, certainly. Like you cannot, or maybe like using the checkpoints to your advantage. Oh, and failing.
It's not a world record if you use checkpoint. Anyway.
So now, but we can see 0 faults. Like the mask had
indeed.
54 faults, and yeah, you can see like the ranking. I guess follows quite exactly like the number of faults. You'll go 0 fault, then 1, then 2, and the
Oh my
time
goodness!
will
If there's
increase,
Fire Rod in here,
slowly.
that will be play of the
between
game.
those gaps. But yeah, congrats to the players. Once again, if you like Trials 2, either do follow the runners, go to the UD website. You have a live page. A lot of the runners do stream on the Ultime Decathlon community on Twitch. So if you do want to find some of those runners, it's pretty easy to do. If you are interested in the UD, we are going to stream the full event on Speed Gaming starting in July the 14th. You will have the competitive tourney. They will obviously feature Trials 2 as well as all the other games. There is no trump card in the UD6. You have to master all of the 10 games, so it's going to be interesting. Thanks a lot, Kushas, for being with me today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much, you too.
And we are going to have our Thursday race with all the players you can see today. They will improve. I will try to have as many of them as possible just to see their improvement on Thursday, 5 days in. And on Saturday, next Saturday, Mythical will host the two races of trials on Speed Gaming also. So it's going to be a good week of motorbiking, and maybe you should get onto it with us if you liked what you've seen. So yeah, I've been Twin for the UD6 with Kushas. Have a good day, have a good Sunday. On Speed Gaming, obviously, you have some more A Link to the Past, like the crazy A Link to the Past randomizer 2018 is still going on. You have 5 different races on all the channels. In about an hour, you will have some various matches all throughout the day. On Speed Gaming 3, you will have some Mario Odyssey starting at 2 p.m. EDT. You will have some A Hat in Time later on today, and some even Zelda 1 and Final Fantasy 1 randomizer. So it's going to be quite a cool speed racing day, Sunday for all of us. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye.